just woke up like an hour ago and I just want to talk. It's quite early. Oh wow, my voice is so annoying. I'm so sorry. I'll try and keep it low. No, hi. I'll try and keep it high. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. So it is Friday, I think so. I don't really know. Sometimes I could be wrong. Um, I think it is Friday. Yep, it's Friday. So, hope you're all having a fantastic Friday. Um, so far so good. It's just that my teeth is hurting. It's really obnoxious because every time I floss, especially on the right side of my bottom teeth, it really hurts. I'm not even joking. It really hurts. It doesn't make sense because I'm not going left, right, left, right. I'm going down and pressing it to take out the dirt. That's basically it. And for some reason it hurts. So yeah, it's kind of obnoxious, you know? Sometimes it just pains for such a long time. Oh, it's obnoxious. Okay. 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 So, let's get this party started. Okay. So I'm sorry about the black image. Let's just pop this up. You can see how dark it is. You want to see how dark it is? Look at that. There's a fly in my room. I don't think you can see it. Somewhere. Okay, it's gone. It's hiding. You see how dark it is? Look at that. That's not bright white light. That's darkness. That's the gloomy clouds covering over. It's a sign of rain, everybody. It's a scary sign of rain. So, anyways, um, wow, what's this? Uh, okay, I'm looking at the article right now. Rogue publisher Nico Neon pushes out man-spreading translations. Look at this. What even is this? What even is this? Oh my goodness, that's so disturbing. You know? Manspreading is not a fun term to use, you know? Because when you're a biological man, your legs are normally spread out. There's something down dangling underneath. I'm not sure that everyone needs to be a biologist to understand that, you know? And look, people are complaining about this. People are complaining about this. So if this is the, I don't think you can see it properly. It can't focus. Let me read it for you. And so I just decided to proudly manspread, or at least as proudly as I feel comfortable with. So that's the English translation, the localized translation. This is the original, it's written in Japanese. Okay, more accurate translation from someone from Twitter. This is their Twitter handle. You can't even see it, I'm sorry. But they're kind of cool. Okay, more accurate translation. If that's the case, being more brazen here would be probably the best. That was a dilemma I was faced with, you know, because the fact that they literally took this and they added their own spin is obnoxious. It isn't the first time. This is not the first time Western people have changed Japanese languages, not to suit for the better of the story, but, for themselves. And more localization vandalism. Japanese lines say Orihime and Ikobashi, but the English say they change it to Romeo and Juliet. Look at this stuff. Look at this. English both die in the end. Jap both, but they die. Both die in the end. Japanese can only meet once a year. What is up with these people? What is up with these people and their obsession with trying to change everything? You know, it's so annoying. It's so obnoxious. I'm gonna use the word obnoxious a lot, but it doesn't make sense for them to do such things. Their job is to just translate, no matter if it's something they disagree with. If they don't want to translate it the proper way, why get the job in the first place? That's my main question. Listen to me very carefully. If you don't want to get a job of something, you know you're gonna hate it, why get it? And, you know, I'm not talking about like maybe doing something for the sake of the money. These people, some of these people, these localizers are about money. They just want to lecture people about politics, and that's it. The fact that they have to do this, they think they have more power over you. That's the worst part about this overall. You know, this is not the first time they've done this, as I said. They've done this a plethora of times. Okay? They've done this a plethora of times. Uh, what can I say but stop stop letting these people handle the projects. I understand it's very difficult to find people to localize stuff, but I don't know what else to say to be fair. I feel like you have to hire a private translator instead because these localizers don't care about anything else. If they did if they did care about the game, then it would be perfectly fine. It's so obnoxious. Yes, I said it the 100th time. Okay. Anyways, enough rambling. Let's just check out the Ripperverse. Now you may be wondering why aren't I using my laptop if you are just watching me now. You know I have a laptop. Why not use this to screen record? Something happened with OBS. I use OBS to record, and for some reason something crazy happened. I can't record audio for some reason. I don't know why that's the problem. I hope the microphone is not broken because the microphone is inside. You know, you can't even see my hand, but it's inside. So, anyways, let's just check up on the Ripperverse. This is amazing. 40,000 backers. That's freaking cool. Um, so what does the Ripperverse teach us? One, don't be afraid to try out new things. Two, don't be. Oh my goodness! Ow! 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 I bit my gum. Ow! So obnoxious, honestly. Every time I'm trying to speak, I can't close my mouth properly because it hurts. The gum hurts, and now I bit it, making it much more worse. I do apologize if I cough today, mostly because I ate porridge just now, and anytime I eat porridge, it makes my mouth very dry. Yes, I drank water. For some reason, it doesn't want to change whatsoever. Okay. Alright, sorry about that. I had to mute the microphone. My voice is so terrible. Okay, so I have to warm it up while I'm here. Okay, so 40, 420 basically. 40,020 purchases. The revenue is out of this world, honestly. Most comic book companies, the big two comic book companies, don't stand a chance. Okay? This is not me being prideful. This is me being honest. Because you wanna know what DC is doing right now? Do you wanna know? I love DC. But what they're doing in the comics is absurd. And I hear that the comics might go away forever. I'm not joking. People at Warner Bros. Are thinking, not Warner Bros. Like the higher ups of that. They're thinking of completely ditching out um, the comic parts of the industry. This, ladies and gents, Superman, son of Kal-El, writer Tom Taylor, keeps embracing woke politics, teases gay marriage with John Kent and boyfriend Nakamura in new issue. This is literally what DC is doing. Okay? And then they complain, gee, why aren't we getting a lot of sales? You know? Well, some of them might think that. They won't want to admit it. They know they're doing terrible right now. They're doing terrible. They don't want to admit it, but inside their head they'll think that. And then they'll think, oh, it's just the alt-right. They'll blame some stupid, ridiculous thing, scapegoat, and then they'll continue to push their nonsense. I'm so surprised, honestly. As you can see, it's doing pretty well. I think the cards are sold out. No, it's still there. It's still there. The cards are still there. Okay? What else can I say? Like, the artwork is beautiful. Honestly. Like, you can't see it clearly, but it's so beautiful. You know? This was the first cover. Second cover. You know? It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. I don't think my comics will ever reach this success. You know? I'll have to keep building up my success as I grow up. Hello. Oh, that's awesome. You pre-ordered it. That's cool. Yeah, it's so amazing to see how so many people are so excited for this. This is such an amazing thing right now. Um, I'm so surprised that, a lot of people are very mad at Ripper for doing this, but honestly, he's gonna change the game for sure. He's inspired so many people to get out there and do their thing, and that's brilliant. I am also looking forward to see what's the next issue, because it says 35 days to go, so I'm guessing after this campaign, okay, never been into comics for the last couple of years, pretty much been sticking to manga. So I'm definitely excited for good comics, for a good comic book change. Yeah, a lot of people are as well, because if you see what the Western industry is doing, they so focused on the woke aspects. They're not focused on fun. They're not focused on telling a good story. They only want to lecture, lecture, lecture. So what Eric is doing is something that is completely missing in the comic book industry, good storytelling. Because these days it's all about lecturing. It's never about giving space for a story. It's never about having a fun aspect of a story, letting the readers escape. It's always about telling the readers what to think, you know? So for the past few years we got comics like Gay Superman, and that's basically it, you know? And and then they sell so bad, you know? Agreed, the preaching and wokeness is why I pretty much avoid comics. It's just so sad to see how these comics have turned into something so terrible. I grew up admiring Superman, you know, and now to see these characters just be thrown apart as just nothing but old twigs. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. They don't get respect. And anytime you have an interesting story, they try and make something interesting. It's just some multiverse aspect. It's not canon. It's just some random thing, and that's basically it. You know? I'm not writing expert by any means, but at least I try to make a story entertaining. Yeah, that's the most important part about a story. You know, many of these so-called people who work here, who work in DC, who work in Marvel, uh, they aren't so professional. You know, they may seem professional because maybe they went to college or maybe they have one degree, but it doesn't change the fact that, interesting stories don't come from so much of experience. It comes from within, you know. I've been working on stories since a child, and I've always perfected on trying my best to make good stories, write good stories. And over the years, my storytelling has improved. However, however, there's a lot more to go through. But I never finished school. I never passed grade 10 because I dropped after grade 9. So ever since then, I had to be on my own and learn these things, you know? So it's very disappointing to see how so many writers who can actually work for comic book companies like this, they end up flopping so hard when it comes to writing stories or interesting concepts. They don't like good stuff, to be fair. They just want to preach. It's not fair, you know? And one of the most interesting parts about this is that they can work the story with their ideology if they wanted to, but they don't even know how to do that. It's just so copy and pasted across the comic. You could easily tell what they're trying to say. It's not subliminal whatsoever. It's just so obnoxious. The isekai fantasy story that I'm working on as a female protagonist, but instead of preaching a woman's issues, focus on getting stronger to survive, and she isn't perfect also. Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. When I write female characters, I don't focus on trying to lecture the audience whatsoever. I write them how I would write my male character, but I give them differences, you know? Sometimes the character will be very different, so I give them that difference, you know? I've been working on my book, and one of the characters, well, the two main characters are female, but the human character, she's pretty strong, but she's also very feminine. You know, she doesn't have to lecture a partner and tell him what to do whatsoever. You know, she is basically, knowledgeable, but at the same time, she also makes mistakes. She also can have human emotions as well. So I always like to write characters that are also flawed and sometimes they surpass their flaws. I don't want it to be a lecture fest because these days there's a superabundance of lecturing, you know? There's so much of comics and books and novels that always lecture. Why should I do the same thing? I can just do something else. And there is a market for non-woke stuff, you know? Perfect example is ISOM. There is a market for non-woke content. So we have to fill that void. I think the best part about about the wokeness, is that we have so much of opportunity to take advantage of the situation because these people are not going to learn their lesson. They're not going to learn their lesson into making good content. They're not going to do that. They're gonna continue to push themselves down and keep diving in the wokeness. So this is perfect opportunity to take advantage of the situation and make good content because a lot of people are hungry. They are ravenous for good content. That's why I want to make a lot of my major stuff out. I want to get a couple of books out. Just last night, I was thinking of making a quick comic series. Now, when it comes to comics, I must make sure I do not do something that basically floods the entire page. I want the page to breathe. You know, I want the page to have enough space so people can understand what's going on. I don't want to make any mistake, obviously, but I feel like mistakes might come. I don't think my comics will be perfect, but some comics that may be orientated, I want it to be very limited with panels per page. Something like this. Um, like this. This is very limited. You get like one, two, three, four panels in one page. You know what's going on, you know? Even this one has like three panels. So I like stuff like that because it gives you a chance to breathe. It's not so congested. There's nothing wrong with having congested comics, but I feel like the only time I'll congest a page, I'll make everything so thick, is only when the characters are talking and they giving out so much of information where you have no choice but to do it. Absolutely, I definitely want to make stories, not just to be not woke, but just to make people interested and hopefully really enjoy them. Yeah, exactly. Same with me as well. I've always wanted to make stories since I was a child. I had this obsession with storytelling, and over time, I realized what I wanted to become an animator. I wanted to make cartoons. I wanted to, create cool characters. Back in 2014, I remember creating a really interesting idea, and I'm still going to reuse that idea. I've been perfecting that idea for the past few years, and from then, I was so obsessed about making cartoons, making original content, trying to put my ideas everywhere. I was so obsessed about that. Over time, my dreams are getting closer and closer, which is a good thing. So yeah, I've always wanted to tell stories, but right now with the woke stuff, with the woke stuff happening, that it's just a major you could say problem, and people don't care about specifically woke. Okay, some people don't mind if it's like subtle, like a small amount of wokeness. People won't mind, but it's getting ridiculous now, where every single thing has to be woke. Every page you turn will have to be some woke nonsense. I actually started doing stories around elementary school when I was getting bullied, so it was a sort of escape for me, but in a weird way, really helped me find a passion. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, when it comes to storytelling, it's not just about being anti-woke. It's also about realizing that this is your chance to tell a story, you know, because sure, people won't want wokeness, but they want a good story as well. They don't want something that's terrible. They don't want something that's really crazy. Take the Jurassic World Dominion movie. It was not woke. It was not woke as the media was trying to portray. It was not woke. But for some reason, it was still terrible. So at the end of the day, it's not just about being woke. It's also about having a good story as well. And uh, can you give shout outs to Sheehan Ranklin, Almighty Tenven, Tevin? Oh, I can't even read. I'm sorry, Tevin, and 1337, please. Okay. A shout out to Sean Ranklin, Almighty Tevin, and Anne 1337. Did I do it right? I hope so. I hope I did it right. Okay. Um, so as I was saying, this is a perfect opportunity. And one important part about this is that when everyone keeps moving one direction, they leave space for other stuff. So this is what the woke people are doing. Thanks. Okay, no problem. Okay, so they're giving us major opportunity to take advantage of this. Absolutely, a good story is important at the end. I don't expect my stories to be masterpieces, but I hope people can enjoy them. Same with me. I don't expect my stories to be masterpieces, but I just want people to enjoy the stories and have fun with it, you know? I'm always obsessed about making new stories. The one thing I do not like is reusing the same characters over and over, you know? Because it just feels really obnoxious, you know? There's nothing wrong with inspiration from one character, but when I reuse the same character over and over for different stories, it kind of feels annoying for me personally. That's why I like to make new content, new concepts all the time. And I always like to, dive down into certain character lore or certain species lore. If I have like multiple species, with different stories, I'll expand upon it in different ways or focus about things differently. I'm not one of those people to always rely on the same thing because for me personally, it just feels that if I can make an original story in the first place, why can't I do it again? You know, I can do it like 100 times. I just don't want to make this. I don't really want to make like, well, how do I put this? Relying on nostalgia, you know? I've created a lot of work. I never posted it, but I've written so much of work. I don't want to have so much of nostalgia in my future projects to turn back on the past. The one thing I'll say about some like anime, like Dragon Ball Super, by the way. As much as I love the Tournament of Power, um, but the entire series overall, not just the series, but sometimes the manga, it always seems to try and copy or try to have like this nostalgia moment with Z for some reason. And it's like, okay, Z was amazing, but this is not Z. Let me have like more interesting panels, you know? There's nothing wrong with nostalgia, but I feel like these days everyone overuses it. Not just in anime. I feel like only a few anime use it. But when it comes to like Western stuff, there's so much of nostalgia everywhere. Everything has to be a nostalgia trip. That's it, like for example, Chip and Dale, the new Chip and Dale movie. I never watched it. I saw a lot of people talk about it. I saw a lot of clips about it. And what I realized was that those clips were just relying too much on nostalgia and references, you know, too much on nostalgia. And I don't like that. I'm all about new stuff, you know. Yeah, while nostalgia is great, there's too much of it nowadays. Exactly. Not just when it comes to like, you know, uh when it comes to cartoons, but real life stuff as well, real life movies, live action movies that's trying way too hard to always try and say, remember about this, remember about that. Rings of Power is going to do the same thing. They have a Balrog, okay? They have a Balrog in this series, and it seems that it's only for nostalgia purposes. It's not going to be for anything else because I can't find any proper way for them to put it in the story right now, unless they're telling a certain event. And they're going to be skipping a lot of parts in the story. They're going to be making their own nonsense with it. It's just crazy to see how they are using nostalgia as a way to win off fans, you know? Remember the time where the fellowship happening? They're making their own fellowship, by the way. I always wanted my stories to be intriguing and different from the mainstream. That's cool. Now, where is that image? I don't think I can find it over here, but there was an image of a Balrog looking very close to the one from Peter Jackson's movies. And let me just say that those movies are superior than the series itself, this series, because let's be real, like they literally created characters and added characters for this stuff. And it's not respecting the law whatsoever. They keep saying they respect the law. They're not doing that. They keep bastardizing the law. They keep mocking the law over and over. And when you point it out, you call it isms, you know? I've heard they're making a new fellowship. You see, like they're relying on nostalgia. They're relying on nostalgia. There's no fellowship in the Silmarillion. Like there's no different fellowship. You know, they're relying on trying to capture that nostalgia. You know, they always try and say that this one is very separate from the Peter Jacksons, but they still continue to old that trilogy and continue to say things about it. You know, it's as if that they're so obsessed with it. You know, they can't let go of that, and they're obsessed with nostalgia. You know, there's going to be a lot of nostalgic moments in this series. That's for sure. Because they can't really work on their own story because you know this is supposed to be based off a separate book, but it turns out they have no rights for that book, so they're basing it off a small couple of notes from the from I think Return of the King. I can't remember which book it was, but I think it was Return of the King. They were heavily focused on that. Hold on. Let me just okay. Now you can see a bit better. Okay, it's just so dark in here. It's such a dark day today. Honestly, I really wish it was more bright today. It looks so sad today, honestly. It's just so sad. I'm glad it did not rain so far, but honestly, it's just so sad. Yeah, it's like, yeah, wow. I wish it was nice and blue today, with no clouds whatsoever. I'm surprised because winter is always very, very rainy. But we had a lot of rain earlier this year. We actually had floods this year, which was crazy, you know? Um, so, yeah. Anyways, as I was saying, I don't want to rely too much on character nostalgia over and over because then it'll just suck. They always like to get well-known franchises since a nostalgia makes it an easy cash grab. Exactly. Exactly. They always dangle it like a key. They always dangle it in front of the trailers, expecting you to purchase the product or purchase a ticket for the movie or something of the sorts. You know? Um, anyways, I'm just saying I'm so tired of nostalgia. Even video games do it. Even video games do it as well. For instance, Monster Hunter. They always like to reference certain aspects of the past. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just that it's just obnoxious when they do it, you know? Okay, it's been so long since I opened this box. It's been so long. I have these stickers. I don't know what to do with them. I feel like I just have to keep them inside. You know, I don't know if anything can happen to them, but it's just I don't know what to do with them, honestly. I bought this last year. This was such a pain to get because uh, I had to wait for someone to deliver this, and obviously uh, they needed an ID, a copy of your ID, and a proof of address. Thank goodness I had my sister's recent order. I went, I actually went with my ID. I never had a copy. And then, the delivery guy came, and then he spoke to his manager, and then he took me to the center, and we made a photocopy of my ID, and then I got this. So once again, it is still very cool that I have a collector's edition. But at the same time, I really, really wish it was much more easier to get, to be fair, because anytime I order something, I don't need to give my proof of address. This is the first time I had to give a proof of address, and it was quite worrisome because what if I had no proof of address? You know? Okay. So, I don't know if I'll ever get a collector's edition. I don't know. I don't even know if I'll ever get another collector's edition of any game. These days, games are just so sad these days, you know? As much as I love, as much as I love Monster Hunter, I really worry for its future, you know? I worry for all the Japanese games because it seems that all the Japanese games, all the Japanese companies are trying to bend the knee for some reason. They're trying to appease the woke mob. They don't want to make anything fun, and I worry about that. I grew up playing Monster Hunter, and when I hear some nonsense about what's going to happen in the future, it worries me. It worries me a lot. So, unfortunately, you know, for Monster Hunter 6, which might come out next year, I will need a new console. So I'm going to be purchasing a console. Now, I'm not going to purchase PlayStation, unfortunately. I don't like Microsoft. I really don't. But I feel like I have to get a freaking console, you know? I can easily save up for a PC or build my own PC, but that's something to do in the background. Because I don't want to use any PC to play major games, mostly because I want to use a PC to make games, you know? I want to use my laptops for work. I want to use my computers for work, and I feel like I had to get a console, you know, and I don't want to give Microsoft too much. I feel like I have to get this version, you know, the S console, which is very cheap. Because if you look at the prices, it's so expensive. Okay, but I'm surprised how cheap this is compared to this. I would gladly get this in a heartbeat, but it's so light. I definitely want a PC for emulation. That's cool. I just want to get a PC to make games because, you know, I can't make that much games out of this laptop. You know, so I can only make visual novels and that's it. But I think I should get like a better PC and make stuff out of it. And since I'll be making games from a PC, it'll be rendering so many times. I won't have time to play games altogether. So I should get a new console. This is light. It's very small, smaller than my Xbox One. However, the problem I have with this is that, you know, it's just digital. So I have to sign in with all my details, and that's it. And this one has like a disk tray and everything, so I don't have to sign in and enter my bank details, you know, if I want to, if I don't want to, you know. Uh, So if I want to purchase a game, I have to only purchase digital, and that's not a bad thing. I just fear because, you know, what if someone robs me? And it'll be much more easier to steal this because it's so small. It's smaller than an Xbox One than to steal this because this is pretty strong. This is pretty good. So I feel like I have to get this, which is unfortunate. You know, a PS5, I don't want to get a PS5 at all because you know, Sony always censors games. Sony always censors games. I can't even find it on this website. It's sold out. It's sold out. So many people purchased it. Oh no, no, no. Oh, what's this? It's just slightly expensive than the Xbox Series X, but honestly, I won't purchase it. I'd rather get the Xbox because Sony censors a lot more games, and that's the problem, you know? I'm not going to play too much games. I just want it for Monster Hunter. But the fact that Sony censors so much games, it's so obnoxious, you know? I have to get this. It sucks. Which really sucks, but I have no choice, I guess. Um, Anyways, the controllers do look good though. I really like the controllers. It's pretty simplex. It's cool. So I have no issue with that, you know? I grew up with the PSP, so you know, I really wish I could have gotten a PS5, but then the fact that they're so pro censorship really sucks because that's all they care about is just censoring video games, you know? And it's crazy because I don't like Microsoft that much, but now I have to get it, you know, the lesser of two evils, I suppose. Anyways, so yeah, as you can see, I have to choose this one because this is way too light. This can easily get stolen. You know, easily without a doubt get stolen. You know, I like this, but it can easily get stolen. That's the problem. You know, and I don't want to be robbed. I don't want to be robbed. And if I was robbed, this will be one of the first things that will be taken, you know. And compared to this, because this is pretty big and somewhat heavy, you know. So I don't want to be robbed. I have to get like heavy stuff now. Um, it's just a shame, honestly, because so many people get robbed over here, and it's dangerous, you know. That's the sin of living in this country, having luxury. You know, you can't have fun, you can't you can't have leisure. You have to always live in poverty, or else you will be robbed. You know, people get robbed for so much less. People get robbed for like a couple of rands. You know, so it's so crazy to see how things are these days. I really wish the crime wasn't so bad over here. But nonetheless, if I want Monster Hunter 6, I have to purchase this. They have a lot of stock of this, so I think I'll be fine. I'll save up before Black Friday because Black Friday, well, here in South Africa, sometimes they might give us like an extra week. That is scary. I hope you continue to be safe. Thank you so much. I will continue to be safe. I just have to make sure that no one knows what I have inside my house because sometimes people can have grudges, and sometimes those grudges can lead to people, robbing you. So it's best to always be by yourself, not create trouble, and just basically live with peace. That's the most important part, because sometimes, or some house robberies come because of grudges. People grudge you for what you have, and sometimes it's totally random. Sometimes they eye your house. Sometimes there are people out there eyeing your house for days, watching your movement and stuff like that. It's so sad, honestly. I remember a couple of years ago, our neighbors was getting robbed, and then, yeah, it's just so crazy. That was middle of the day. It's just insane, you know. Not enough that nighttime is scary. Middle of the day is also scary. I feel like I need like a nice dog. Unfortunately, I won't be able to have a pet, but I wish I had like a nice dog. Then it can chase away all the villains of this world, or even a pet snake or something. I'd rather have that, to be fair, because not everyone likes snakes in this country. Not everyone is a snake lover, so it will be so fine if I have like a strange animal. People won't come close to it, which I like. I think I should get some kind of snake or something, or a lizard or something. I was asking for a leopard gecko. Hold on. Uh, Let me find that place. Uh, I was going to ask for a leopard gecko, but I feel like I should get a leopard gecko. I should get a leopard gecko because I want to protect myself, and not everyone likes lizards. I know leopard geckos are so small, but it's pretty scary to some people. So, this is the website where they sell a lot of snakes, a lot of lizards, a lot of spiders. Very fun stuff, you know? And they can actually deliver. They'll drive up to your house and deliver. So that's amazing. That's really amazing. We have, um, well, I don't want a snake, to be fair, but I will have no choice but to. Quick, easy, and convenient. Safe, secure online shopping. So I will obviously have to purchase a lizard or something. Um, Lizards. There's a lot of lizards. We have a lot of regular lizards. Those flat lizards, those flat peach lizards. We have them around the house, not inside, but outside. And they are very scary. But regular lizards like geckos are much more better to have. Look at the price of this. Wow. I can't zoom in, but it's basically almost 1,000 rands, almost $60. This one's a bit more cheaper for some reason. I'm guessing they overbred. When you have too much, I'm assuming it's a bit more expensive. I mean, cheaper. I'm assuming it's a bit more cheaper. Or maybe it's just the type itself. This one's like 850. This one's 950. This one is um, 650, and this one's 750. So I'm assuming they bred too much, but I won't mind having it. I'd rather have this and protect myself, to be fair, because when people see a lizard, if they're breaking in, they aren't going to be so happy. They're going to run away. They're going to run away when they see a lizard like this, you know? Um, I don't want this color, to be fair. We have a lot of regular lizards with this color, and it's just they're kind of scary. I'd rather have something like multicolored like this, you know? And if you look at the walls, it's very much cream, you know? I don't want my lizard to somehow escape and, get mixed up in the walls. That's what happens when regular lizards invade. We can't tell the difference. They blend in so naturally. I'm gonna go to bed, waifu. I'm starting to get sleepy. I'll see you later. Stay safe. Bye. Bye. Have a wonderful dream. Okay. So, anyways, we can see basically everything about this. I can't even zoom in. Wow. This is so embarrassing. I can't even zoom in. Okay. So we have a female. We have hatch date. This was just a couple months ago. Third month, which was March. Length 13, weight 18. Obviously, this will have to be updated because they keep growing over and over. So maybe next month they'll change it. Maybe 14 centimeters and 8 or 19 grams, Um, description. So please note, delivery of livestock requires a specialized delivery service that occurs extra costs. Oh, it's going to be much more costly. It's going to be much more costly. Okay, so if I want something, let's just see if I want a full lizard setup. How much do I have to have? Okay, count the lizard out of this. Let's just see the shop. Um, okay, with these ones, they're a bit more easy to keep, but anything else? Okay, reptile products, eating cables, pads, lamps. Oh, the problem with eating cables is that they need to be plugged on, you know? And the problem with that is we have load shedding, basically power outages. So, yeah, I don't necessarily need lamps. I need a eating pack. Oh, this is like an eating pack, 72 hours. I'd rather have the plugged one, to be fair. Adjustable eat pad, like something like this, you know? Where you just plug in instead of having like small little versions that last like 72 hours. I'd rather use one that can last just when it's plugged in. So we have that, that'll cost kind of cheap. Caging, that's going to be fun. And plus cage decorations, you need like a couple of hides and stuff like that. So cages, well, this cage is good. This one is good. This one is good. But I feel like before I purchase the lizard itself, I have to purchase the cage. So Longwoods is fun, but I feel like something like this is about a bit more fun, you know? Um, this is medium, this is large. I don't have space, and this table, I can't put anything on this table. It's cracking. It's literally cracking, you know? It's been cracking ever since this year, so I don't want to put too much on it. This table had too much of stuff on it since the beginning, but I rather not have too much. But if I'm gonna get a cage, I would obviously get a medium one for one of these. I really wish I can keep a lot of pets, but no. I think that's a bit dangerous. I think that's very dangerous. But I'd rather have at least one thing to protect my house. So a cage will be like 900, which is almost, well, if you count the plug-in for the eating pad, it's like 1,000. Plus you need, uh, we need hides as well. like you need like plethora of these, maybe like two of them or three of them, you know, one of them for moist, one of them for dry. So one of them you have to put something inside, one of them, one of them you have to have it dry. Like this one, it can be moist, this one can be dry. Um, and one of them has to be in the warm side, one of them has to be in the cool side, you know? All of these just cost a lot, but it's totally fine. This one is so cheap. It's plastic though. I'd rather have this or maybe this, like 200 each. Like it's gonna be kind of costly. So almost 500, 1.5, maybe even worth more than that. Um, Temperature, what else? Also food as well. I feel like this is gonna be so difficult to have, compared to having other animals. So I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, this has been a very fun stream. I'm just going to continue because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to comics itself. Eric July has really inspired a lot of people, even myself. Even though I was always wanting to work on my own stories, it brought that extra oomph of inspiration, which I really admire. I really respect. So I am going to be very much happy to see how his company grows, and I hope that his next comic really grows as well. I wonder what's his next plan. I wonder if he's going to release two type of comic books, maybe like different versions of different stories. Maybe with a different character. Because I did hear for a fact that this is going to be the what do you want to call it, the platform, I would say, for the future titles. It's going to be building up the story. It's going to be building up the multiverse. So you're going to have possibly a lot more comics in the future, a lot more options, and that's going to be amazing, honestly. This is perfect. Now, I do have two comics. I do have. Um, okay, I have to get this out. Okay. Okay. Now, now, I used to have other types of comics. I used to have Archie comics, which was once my sister's comics, but I don't know what happened to them. I don't think I have them anymore. Maybe my brother has them. I don't know. We had a couple of Super Strikers comics. Don't know what happened to that. So as you can see, the only two comics I kept. I got this when I was a bit more younger, like a couple years ago, around 2014, 2013. So when I was pretty young. And as you can see, the quality is not the best, but it's beautiful. Now, if you look at this style of comics, you can tell that it's very much square, rectangle. Nothing really jumping out of the box, Nothing really jumping out of the box. And I would say because there's not much action to begin with, you don't have to show so much, if I'm making sense. So you're gonna tell different scenes, different perspectives. It's totally fine. I don't want to have too much of this unless I'm telling, a narrative. I don't want to have too much of this, um, because then it'll just feel terrible. I want the comics to breathe. Now this is a different style altogether. So um, okay. By the way, these are asterisks and obliques. Some of you may know of them, some of you may not. But I remember when I was a kid, I watched a couple of cartoons. I also got a couple of Kinder Joy toys. Remember when Kinder Joy was much more fun? Remember that? Remember when Kinder Joy was so fun? The toys they have now is terrible. They divided the Kinder Joys into girls and boys. Now, I see that as a kind of a silly thing because the toys, no matter what, were also just girls and boys. It was for girls and boys. It was totally fine to collect all. So, anyways, as you can see, it's very beautiful. The art style is very beautiful. It shows a lot. And once again, the font, I can't zoom in. I can't focus so much. But the font of this is very small, which I think I should actually use. I want smaller fonts. I don't really need something so heavy. You know, sometimes when they're screaming something or talking about something louder, we're gonna use heavy fonts. So this is pretty cool, you know? I'm surprised I don't have more comics of these Asterix and Obelix. So this is the Asterix and the Great Crossing. This is a very fun comic. I like this comic, especially how it starts off. Look at that beautiful, beautiful sunset. Look at that. It's just so beautiful. I like this. It's so funny. It's so funny. Uh, this one, Black Gold, is even funnier. There's some hidden humor in this, which I really admire, you know. I wish I had some Smurfs comics as well because I don't have Smurf comics. I watch the cartoons, but I don't have it. So I'm actually really wanting to get more comics. I want to try making my own, get other people's comics. I'm gonna collect, maybe I should start collecting ISOM comics. That's gonna be amazing. If I have like a nice shelf, build a nice shelf, a very small shelf, and just put these things in. That'll be beautiful, you know? That'll be so beautiful. When it comes to DVDs, I have a plenty of those. I have so much of DVDs. Okay. Now, before I go, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. I hope you can see it. Hold on. I'm sorry about the terrible light, but as you can see, by the way, this is my bookmark. It's a piece of paper. Yes, I don't have a bookmark, but hey, that's kind of cool. Just gotta make do with what you have. So this is the Fellowship. And let me just say that the writing over here is very inspirational. It actually tops my writing tenfold. Honestly, the cool part about this book is that there's so much in it, and I'm almost done. I'm almost done with the book. It still smells like book quality. Um, Honestly, if I'm gonna collect more books, I'm not gonna go so wild with novels, but I still want a shelf so I can put my own books in. I can basically just like have a shelf, build it, put it in, and maybe some of the books I can collect and the rest can be mine. But I mostly want to fill it up with comic books because comic books are amazing. I'm surprised they never they never went back and censored it. You know something, I have a feeling they're gonna come after these books next. That's my strange feeling. They're gonna come after it because it doesn't fit the series. Some people are gonna get offended over that. They're gonna come after the books. I'm not joking. Like there's F words over here, okay? Like FAG words, okay? FAG words, uh, like people are going to get offended over that. Even though the meaning of the FAG word is for cigarette, people will get offended over that. So they're going to come after the books next. Without a doubt, they will be rewriting the books. I bet you $5. They're going to come back for the series and rewrite the work. And then what are you going to say? They're going to come after it, and it's so scary. Um, Anyways, I guess that's it. That's basically it. I have to go because I'm so busy with work. I'm thinking of working on a very small comic series. Um, so yeah, have a good day. Bye.